Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. You're watching Viewpoint Abroad, episode number 2. If you're new here, my name is John. I'm an American that's been living here in Guangdong, China for 14 years.
What's good, everybody? And I'm Alex. I'm the co-host of this show, and I guess you could call me an expat as well. I've been living about 15, 16 years all throughout Southeast Asia. And once again, we want to welcome you guys to the Viewpoint Abroad podcast. This is the first live podcast. But go ahead, John, with some messages. Let him take over.
Real quick, just before we get into the episode, I just want to say something real quick, y'all. When I first moved abroad, one of the first mistakes I made was for a couple of years, I didn't file my taxes. And I got behind, and actually cost me a bunch of money to catch up on that stuff. Because even if you're making money in China or somewhere else in the world, Uncle Sam still wants his money. So I put a link below to efile.com. Over there, you can file your taxes 100% for free. If it's a simple return, if it's a more complicated return, they have some paid services. Use the link below. They'll give you 30% off just for using our link. And maybe me and Alex can buy a cup of coffee. So anyway, Alex, what's on your mind, man? What are we going to talk about today?
Well, today is a topic I'm sure that is very relatable to a lot of people that have been living overseas, especially those who've been living overseas for quite an extensive period. Okay, so I mean, we all went through it, you know, the trials and the triumphs, and today we're going to be focusing on these type of things, you know, the things that we went through. From being taken advantage of to people actually being very hospitable and helping us out while we were, living over there. And like I said, John and I were going to share some stories and, maybe kind of help you identify some red flags if you are employed by certain individuals and how to properly, I guess, deal with these types of situations. And like I said, this is maybe more towards the ends, but yeah, the things that we went through. And so I don't know if you want to go ahead and kind of kick it off and start off with maybe an experience that you've had while you were there, or while you're your first few years. I'm sure you wisen up by now, but
yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know, we all make stupid mistakes from time to time, because I've made some had both good and bad experiences. Overall, in general, here in China, I've had pretty good experiences with people being friendly and treating me nice. But I've had some people go actually above and beyond and do really great things for me. But at the same time, I've had a couple people take advantage of me too, that I didn't expect them to do that. So I've had both ends of the spectrum. So I don't know. First, I'll tell you a quick little story. I don't know if I even told you this story before or not. But back when I first arrived in China, and during my first year here, and at my very first job I was working at, actually I got sick one day, and it wasn't like really bad. I just got like a normal flu or something, and my girlfriend went downstairs to the local pharmacy and got me some medicine. And partially my fault, I didn't say nothing to her that I have some allergies to some medicines, and she bought me some medicine over the counter, had some penicillin. I took it, and I'm allergic to penicillin, and I got really, really sick. It messed me up bad, and I went to the hospital, and I was like puking my guts out for like 4 days straight. And when I was in the hospital, actually, like, they just had me like on a bed, like in the middle of the hallway, and I'm like puking on the floor and all kind of stuff. I just uncontrollably, and people passing by me, I remember them looking at me like, this foreigner gonna die. Yeah. So I was like, must have been awful. But something happened, man. My immune system got so weak, and I got shingles, and I had this red spots on my face, and it messed up my eyes. I couldn't see or nothing. And at that time, I was working for a Hong Kong company, and my boss, her name's Lillian. I don't know if she watched this or not. If she watches it, shout out to you. She really helped me out. Like, so I was sick. I was going to the hospital. I couldn't get better. After like months and months of dealing with this, like, it got so bad I couldn't even go outside in the daylight. I was like a vampire, man. Like, I just walk out in the sun and start crying, like because my eyes couldn't even open. It was light was so sensitive, messed up my eyes really bad. And so I told my boss, like, when are you ever gonna be able to come back to work? And I was like, well, I can't even come out in the daylight, unless I'll be wearing sunglasses. Even like turn the light on in the room messed up my eyes. So my boss was like, just come on into work. I was at work in the school, in the classroom, teaching in the dark with the lights off and wearing sunglasses, like I had some gangster sun, like I'm cool, and the lights is off, and I just tell the kids like it's some game or some shit. But anyway, long story short, my boss, she's like, oh, these doctors aren't very good. Let me take you to a hospital in Hong Kong. And she took me with her in her personal time out of work, took me to Hong Kong to her home, took me to the doctor, all this stuff. And she like sent me to this really great doctor. And the work company paid for everything. She like made the company pay for it. Yeah. And a week later, man, I was like better. And after I've been fighting this for months and months and months, it's like my boss like went above and beyond, took me to the hospital, paid for it, put it on the company, all these things like that. And that was kind of my first experience with a Chinese person, like just going above and beyond and doing something really good and just really helpful for me, just out of the kindness of their heart, because she didn't have to pay for that. Like she didn't have to take care of me like that. Most bosses would like, forget you, you know what I mean? Or if they would have fired me or something. But she, went above and beyond, did a lot of great things. So that was my first experience.
Yeah. And you said like, how far along, like, were you in China, like when this like happened or whatever?
Man, I just started that job. I started that job in August, and this happened in October.
Yeah.
So I was just like a couple months in.
Man, and that's crazy. So let me, like, I wouldn't say go back a little bit, but like, so would you say for the most part, like your overall experience in China and dealing like with Chinese people, for the most part, they've been like very like hospitable and try to look out, from your point of view?
Yeah, I've had several instances, like actually several occasions, like there's been points in time like where I was alone, like I didn't have like a girlfriend or like close friends nearby, and so I only had like, or maybe just like met some people, or some friends, local friends. Anytime I needed any help, like if I really needed help, like if I got sick or something like that, and at that time I didn't know any Chinese language or nothing, and so a lot of people went above and beyond to help me do things that I needed to do, like seeing a doctor and stuff like that I really needed when I was sick. So a lot of good things like that people have done for me without question. I didn't ask anybody nothing. They were just like, call me, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm sick, I'm in bed or whatever. I've been sick for like a couple of days. And then they just show up at my house and knock on the door, and they're like, I'm here and we're gonna go to the hospital. And they just take you, like you don't ask them or nothing. They just show up and offer, these kind of things have been really, really good to me as far as that goes.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I mean, I think like overall, like I said, I was there for like, like 7 years, right? So also for myself, I've had pretty, I would say a pretty positive experience, while I was there for 7 years. I mean, I definitely ran into some people I didn't like, you know what I mean? And the crazy thing is, bro, is like my first year, you know what I mean? I think I kind of briefly touched on it, like the last time that we talked, like when I first ended up coming to China, the school that I worked for, it was like through like these recruiting agencies. I'm not sure if that's how you came over there or whatever, but they were scheming off the top. You know what I mean? So
I've heard these stories.
So let's say, for example, you're supposed to make like 12,000 RMB a month, right? But instead, they'll tell you you're making just 6,000. So for the first like 6 months that I was in China, man, we found out, and then we ended up Then they had this guy, bro. Like, look, you know what he did? He would just like, might sound kind of weird, but it was actually pretty strategic of him. He would like go around these schools, and he would like talk to these foreigners and be like, hey man, like how was your experience? His name was let's just call him Jay, okay? um, and he would like walk, he would go around these schools and he would like go up to foreigners and strike up a conversation, and he was like, hey, how's your experience, you know, how much are you getting paid? Which some people, like, they're kind of reluctant to answer that, but he had a very good tactic. He was like, hey man, if you are not satisfied with this company that you are working for here, you know, I can introduce you somewhere where instead of making 6,000, now you're making 24,000 RMB, and you know that's like a big green flag in everybody's head. So, dude, he would like go to these schools all over Shenzhen. It was like peak, man, when like English teachers were coming in at that time, and you know, he would recruit him to another school that paid way more money, and he would get like fat commission. You know what I mean? Like, good. Imagine like in a month he brings like 15 to 20 people. You know what I mean? Anyway, so he,
you know how those sorry, I was gonna say, you know how much those dudes get paid, those recruiters?
Not really.
For the foreigners they hire, they get 1 month of the foreigner salary. So for example, the job's going to pay you 25,000, the recruiter gets one lump sum, 25,000. Bam. So every teacher they get, you know, they make
times like
200,000. Yeah, big money.
Yeah, man, that's a good. Actually, I kind of thought about that before. But anyway, so I get transferred to this training center, and bro, let me tell you, man, this place was, I told you before, off mic, off cam or whatever. It was in Yantian, you know. Is that part of Shenzhen, or is just like a whole separate district? I can't really.
It's just a district. It still belongs to Shenzhen City. It's just at that time it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's accessible now. They have subway system to go out there to Damesha and everything.
Yeah. But anyway, so I went. Yeah, I ended up being, I wouldn't say transferred. I just kind of like bounced. Like kind of, actually, I finished because my contract was like for 6 months anyway. So I kind of sucked it up anyway, you know. But he was like, yo, after you're done, since you want to stick around, just, you know, come over here. And he introduced me to this dude from Hong Kong, bro. And he was, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, he's like a stereotypical, like a Hong Kong type of looking dude. He had like the whiskers and, you know, long black hair. I don't know, like really like a Cantonese, like a Guangdong Ren, you know what I mean? Like hardcore. And man, he was a character, bro. He had like 5 heart attacks while we were there. He was I don't know, he was like just a genuine chain smoker, right? So anyway, I'm trying to kind of shorten this up a little bit, but I was working for him, right? And then we started to see these like red flags or discrepancies, you know, in the work. He was like, hey, you know, this next salary is going to be like 2 weeks late, or then 2 weeks later he'll pay us, and then next month he'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, we're gonna get you're gonna get your salary not this month, but we're gonna pay you next month. So for the people that are thinking about coming into like China or just in general anywhere where they have you know, scenarios like this playing out, those are automatic red flags, because it's already telling you there's something going on internally within the business. How does a business don't pay their employee they pay their employee a month after they're supposed to. So now they're like they got to give you 2 salaries, and you know, that's when it becomes like an issue. You know what I mean? So having to deal, dude, I told him, I was like, look, if you don't pay me, then I don't come to work. You know what I mean? So, you know,
happened to me before.
So you know what he told me? He was like, okay, you're fired. You got 2 days to move out of the apartment, because they also provided accommodation. I was like, dang, bro, this is like some kind of ruthless, man. I'm still relatively new in China. You don't pay me my salary, then you take it out on me because you're not doing your job. I already worked my month. I earned, you know, what I'm supposed to get. Now you're slack. You're the one who's slacking. So you know what I mean? So now here's the hospitable part about it. Like the area where I was working, bro, it was like a super private training center. So I don't know what was going on with the money, man. It had to be whoever is probably handling the money behind this. I mean, because the school was like, man, it was literally like state of the art, bro. The kids had iPads. We had like cooking classes. I mean, I'm talking about the whole shebang. And this was a part of the neighborhood where, the Chinese people didn't live in apartments, man. They were actual like houses and mansions. It was a all private neighborhood, dude. We had a mother over there who her and her husband like had a factory that they owned where they manufactured clothes for like Polo. You know what I mean? So they had like big bucks, bro, and they were not afraid to spend it. So, one of the mothers hit me up and she was like, hey, why haven't you been coming to school? So I told her what happened. And like I said, this is where the hospitality of Chinese people come. And I'll throw another story in there later. You know what she did, bro? She gave me my salary times 2. Yeah, she was like, yeah, take this money and, find yourself another apartment and the down payment. And, here's another payment, like the equivalent of your salary on top of this. That way, you have some leniency throughout the month or two while you're out there looking for a job. So like I said, most of the Chinese people that I've came across with were genuinely hospitable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy that she just kind of stepped in and did what the boss should have did, and she wasn't even no relation to them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people, man, they're good people like that. I've came across several parents, especially like working in education, and you interact with the parents a lot. And a lot of the parents are really hospitable like that. They'll like offer to do things for you, like, oh, take you out to dinner or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or they even tell you, like, this place isn't very good. Maybe you should get a job with this place. I'll help you. I know some people, whatever. And they do all these kind of things. It's quite nice, man. They're nice people for the most part.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, besides like the obvious, like language, you know what I mean, when you're first there, what would you say like was some of your biggest challenges when you first came over there that you had to learn how to kind of overcome, I guess?
Well, I guess one of the first, I guess you would call it like a culture shock type thing, like, I don't know if you call it a culture shock or not, but like, when I first came at that time, like I said, I didn't know any language, nothing like that. And when it comes to like going out to eat or something, at that time, I didn't have any money, like just, very, very little money. So I was going to like these really cheap, like crappy places, they have like just like homemade, like mom and pop type food. Like they don't have like menus or nothing. It's just like a piece of paper with a bunch of Chinese writing on it. So when it comes to like going out to eat and stuff every day, I wasn't cooking. And I just go out and eat cheap food. And I had no idea how to say anything in Chinese. And I didn't even know what I was eating. And like the first word I learned was like Jega. So I would just like, I just like point to the piece of paper and I couldn't even read it. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'm just like point to some random thing and like Jega, like this. And they just bring it to me. And then I'm like, I eat it. And I'm like, okay, this ain't bad. I remember this one. And then next time I come back, I like, try a different one. Like it's like order random stuff,
That's interesting. Like, I did the same thing. And then you kind of memorize the meal and be like, oh, yo, this one tastes good. I know how this looks like. And actually, not to like cut you off or anything, but there was like this website. Man, it was like very popular. It was popping around the time like you and I mean, you came there way before I did, but like it was still going around the time. I forgot what it's called, man, where you can meet like Chinese pen pals or whatever. And I ended up meeting some dude, you know what I mean, on this website. But I didn't meet him like when I came to China. I didn't meet him for the first like I said, maybe like 4 or 5 months until after I was already there. So I still didn't have like wouldn't say any help and guidance, because like when I came to the school, there was like foreigners already there from like the UK or whatever, so they kind of knew their way around. I was out there in like rural Shenzhen, but
yeah, I was in the middle of nowhere. I didn't have any friends, didn't know anything, like absolutely zero. I did everything by myself.
Yeah,
got a little bit of a struggle at first.
Yeah, they just kind of had to like figure it out. You know what I mean? Like even the experience, like going over there, bro, it's like I mean, not going over there, but like being there already. It's like they kind of throw you in the classroom and be like, hey, here you go, figure out. There was no curriculums or anything like that. But like I said, the Chinese teachers that were there, and for the most part, even the foreigners, man, that was there, because they knew how it was, and they had some like longevity. They was there before. I don't know if you had that experience, if there was any foreigners there before you, but actually your experience was a little different. You actually went around and knocked on school doors and stuff like that.
Yeah. I didn't have a job when I got here. I was like literally just showed up with money in my pocket, and I just went out face to face and went up to school and said, hey, I'm looking for a job.
Yeah.
That's how I got one. So,
not to drift away like from the intentional topics or whatever, but just out of curiosity, like what made you like pick China out of the places? Even like you didn't even have a job lined up. What made you be like, hey, yeah, I want to go to China? No job. I'm gonna just.
Oh man, I'll make it really short and quick. Like, I lived in Philippines, or I tried to live in Philippines. I ran out of money. I went back to America, got a job. I liked Philippines so much, I went back to Philippines, tried it again, ran out of money, and ended up homeless on the street. And then went back to America again, saved some money, and I said, I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving again, but Philippines didn't work. I failed twice. I'm gonna try something new. So I'm like, I'm just gonna try China. Cause like I was like reading some online forums about working abroad this time. I was trying to find a job like online. I couldn't find a job.
Like Craigslist and stuff?
Yeah. But I seen some online forums where people said like, you can't get a job in China from abroad. Like everybody says, you come to the country and do it on the ground. So I said, all right, I'm gonna try it. So I saved up some money and I bought a plane ticket and showed up to Shenzhen and just went door to door looking for jobs, man. And it was like maybe 2 weeks in and found a job. So.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, man, to be honest with you. I don't think I have the nerve to do that nowadays. But back then it's like I didn't have anything. Like I literally had like no money, and it's like nothing to lose, I'm like, I've been somewhere in another country, end up homeless before. Like I already knew what the worst was that could happen, and I wasn't scared of what that was because I had already been there and done that. So I was like, I'll try it again. I
mean, look, man, that's kind of how I looked at it, I guess, bro. It's like if I go broke, if I go homeless, and like I said, not like taking advantage of people or whatever, it's like I guess I can figure out my way back home somehow if like it was the last resort or whatever. But it's like, a lot of people don't know too much about like our background before, living abroad days before China, the Philippines or whatever, bro. Like I said, you and I have talked before, but obviously the viewers don't know it, man. We grew up in some rough places, bro. So it's like you have to survive. You know what I mean? Get it how you live. It's how we used to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's if you use this terminology where you were from in Kentucky. I mean, we both are from the South. You know what I mean? But it's man. It's like it's tough, man. It's trying to figure out. They say like the hustlers, survive whether you do it legitimately or illegitimately. You know what I mean? You
sometimes that's all it's all about is figuring it out. But I think one of the things, I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but I guess I would say for myself, one of the things that I had an advantage over was that I had, compared to some other people that I've met anyway, I guess, like I had been to rock bottom. I've been, in the street, did bad stuff or whatever, and end up homeless and all this other stuff. So I knew what the worst thing that could happen was, and so I wasn't scared to, to take a big chance to make a big improvement. So I just jumped out there and said, I've been to the bottom. If I go back, I already know what's down there. No big deal. So I'm gonna take the step, and you do it.
That's the leap of faith.
Yeah,
what I mean?
Because a lot of people, like, even myself nowadays. I'm sorry to stop you, but like even like myself nowadays, like I'm comfortable. My life is great. I've got decent amount of money. Everything's smooth and all of that. And now I'm scared to take that big step and to do this big leap, do something different. I'm scared of that because I don't want to go back to the bottom because now I feel great. So I can understand the mindset people go through when they try to, thinking about these decisions. Like if their life is comfortable, they're like, oh man, I don't want to risk giving this up. Even though if you do, what lies beyond that could be a lot greater. And I'm scared to do that myself.
Well, what's kind of interesting, to, I guess, maybe add a little depth to this topic is like, the objective, like growing up from where we grew up and the things, that we went through, like the trials and the triumphs, I mean? It's like the objective is to get out, what I mean? But when you do get out, the objective is growth, and you kind of touched on it before, what I mean? Like, you get to this point in your life where we're like, I kind of, made a little something of myself and for myself, what I mean? And I definitely don't want to go back to where I came from, what I mean? Yeah. So the only, stagnation kills a lot of dreams, I guess, what I mean? And not to preach to the viewers or whatever, but like, it kind of made me think when you kind of mentioned that. It's like, sometimes I don't want to move where I'm at because I do have this comfortability. I have, monetary stability, what I mean? And so the only thing to do now is you either self-destruct or you find a way to grow, what I mean? And that's man. But, one of the viewers kind of mentioned, he was like, we should just, what I mean, speak our mind or whatever. And so I guess I'm going to do that because like I don't hold things back, but it's kind of weird in that societal norm, not societal norm, but like now it's like these kids want to go to the trenches, as they call it. Like, bro, you grew up in a privileged, Like,
I wish I grew up in the privileged, like whatever environment or whatever. I had like a wealthy family or something like that. I didn't have that advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't have nothing. So I would. If I would have grew up like that, man, I would have everything. But everything I got, I did myself. Did it the hard way, learned the hard way.
Yeah. What about, like, I know you touched on your what's the name of that boss that helped you out, Linda, Emily, or
her name was Lillian, Hong Kong lady.
Lillian.
Yeah, lady from Hong Kong.
What about, like,
we're still friends to this day, actually. Even 14 years later, we still talk every now and then. It's like every now and then she send me a message. How you doing?
That's kind of that's kind of answered my questions. My question that I was going to ask was like, have you been able to build like lasting friendships with Chinese people that has like longevity, that you still talk to like on the regular from the first time that you came there until, what is it, 15, 16 years later?
Yeah. I'll mention this one other friend too. There's a dude I know. His name is Steve, Chinese dude. He's about the same age as me. He's like 1 year younger than me. But I met him my first year in China at the gym. I was going to the gym every day, and this dude was also at the gym and just working out. And he could speak a little bit of English, and he just like said hi to me one day. And then after that, like every time I come to the gym, we just say, hey, what's up? Say hi to each other for a couple minutes, and then we grew into a real friendship. And he actually treated me really well. He treated me like a brother. This dude, he's actually got he works in the factory and all this other stuff, like a factory owner. He owns several houses in Shenzhen and stuff like that. And at one point in time, he even gave me one of his houses. Not like give to me, but like let me just stay there for free. He's like,
I got free house.
Yeah. He said, like, I got this extra house and nobody's living there. Cause I was like, I told him one day I'm moving, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm moving, about to move to another house. And he said,
Yeah.
I got a house I just redecorated. He says, it's brand new. He said, you can just move in there. I'm like, okay, how much do you want? He said, I'll move in. He said, no, just stay there. It's okay as long as you know, keep everything clean. See, he's been to my house before. He knows, like, I have like a cleaner lady who comes, keeps my house really clean and stuff. You know, he just keep it clean like you keep your house now. He said, it's cool, just stay there. I'm like, oh, okay. So I moved in there. I stayed there for 2 years in Shenzhen. At that time, the rent was like 6,000-7,000 a month in places. And he gave me 135 square meter apartment. Like a rent for that place would have been like 10 or 12,000 a month. He just gave it to me. He said, here, just stay there for free. So
Yeah, that's pretty nice,
there.
man.
But that dude, man, he's always been really good to me. He's treated me like a brother. He's like always invited me with his family, like his wife and kids and his parents, stuff like that. Always invite me with them and they go places. And he's like, you want to come with us? And you know, super nice
awesome,
dude,
man.
Yeah, it's really nice dude.
That's pretty cool, man. Like, yeah, man. Like, you know, remember I just told you about the lady that the mother. Man, her name was Chris. She called herself like Christine, but Christina, but she called herself Chris for short. And anyway, she was the lady. Man, shout out to her too. You know what I mean? She was the one who helped me out a lot, and her daughter like really liked me. You know, I was just like a goofy teacher. You know what I mean? Kind of like a grown kid. You know what I mean? So anyway, we established like a good like relationship with each other. Nothing like crazy. You know what I mean? Like genuine like friendship or whatever. And I wasn't the only one she helped out. You know, there was another guy named Shane. Actually, he's living in the Philippines now that was working with me. He went through the same type of experience. But yeah, man, I've met some, man, it sucks. Like
I got sorry, can I ask you a funny question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know, it just popped in my mind, but since you're talking about you know, like just teaching the kids and the parents or whatever, I'm just curious if you had this experience, because I've had this. It's kind of awkward, but have you had any parents, like any moms, like try to like approach you, like, you know, like in a sexual way, or send you some nasty pictures and stuff
bro,
like that?
Of
You
course.
know?
Yo, I got invited to KTVE, bro, like hundreds of times, and you know what goes on over there, bro. You get drinks, husbands are out on business, and you know. Personally, bro, I'm being 100% honest, bro. I didn't go, you know, because I wasn't over there chasing moms. I was out there chasing the girls at the clubs. You know what? And don't get me wrong, this mom, she was freaking hot, dude. Like really, she was smoking, man. Like I give her that. She's also like a local, like a Guangdong Ren or whatever, and I believe was living in Hong Kong, and she had two daughters, and she was like in her early 30s. No, maybe even younger than that, like 26 or 27, something like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, you know, I have had a lot of these experiences, not even with moms, but just like, how do I explain it, man? I don't know, just like random women that would like come up to you sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just thought it was, for me, it was always kind of awkward, like, because I've had moms do that too, like you'd have like the relationship with the students at school, you know, and then the parents talk to you, and then sometimes I've had some that maybe they just get too comfortable, like with talking to you, and they look at you like a certain way, especially like how to say, like, I don't know, here in Guangdong, more traditionally, like, well, back in the day anyway, a lot of times the moms, you know, stay at home with the kids. And then the dads is always doing some business or something like that. And I think some of the, just my opinion or speculation, I think some of the moms see that, like, the way that you interact with the kids and how the kids like you so much, and then they kind of develop this attractiveness to you because they see how you treat their child. And so maybe they kind of like take things too far, you know, and then they say like, oh,
I kind of see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, I've had them, they say, oh, come over for dinner or something like that. And then they kind of say like, oh, my husband's, you know, out of town on business. So I'm like, I think I'll pass. You know, I'm not going to like move in on some other dude's woman. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But, you know.
to be blunt, bro, like I've, you know, it definitely happened not with the mothers at work, but like after, if I met a woman or
Yeah.
whatever, then I find then later, I don't know why they actually do end up always telling you, they have a husband or they're married or whatever. And bro, to be frank, at that time I didn't care, bro. You know what I mean? Like I said,
When you're
I
young,
had
man.
some, I had some wild experiences, bro. Like, man, maybe we'll save this for another,
Yeah.
another day. But man, it was crazy, bro. Like, like I don't know, man. It's like
It seems different nowadays.
when did China? I forgot. Like historically, I guess it kind of opened up to the rest of the world. It was like during Reagan or something. I can't remember who it was. Where China just like, hey, we're open to the world. You know what I mean? I can't remember, but
Yeah, but some places still stay really closed off. Like when I
yeah,
first arrived in Shenzhen in like 2010, it was like there was no foreigners in certain places. Like, and I've went places and they never even seen foreigners, and it's kind of awkward to be already like 2010. I mean, now that I
yeah.
think back about it, and they like
But
hadn't been around foreigners
but
before.
see,
It's kind of weird,
but there was this mutual attractiveness in a way because like you've never seen a Chinese person. I guess I mean if and coming where I'm from, there's not a whole diversity of there's not a whole lot of diversity of people. It's like black and white.
yeah,
That's pretty much it where
yeah.
I come from. And then I've moved to Korea and I was like, yo man, these girls look beautiful. Yo, what's up, Nixon?
Nixon. He said it was during Nixon's era.
Oh, Nixon, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it was there
man,
under President
tripping,
Nixon,
bro.
Yeah.
I'm tripping.
Under President
Sorry, brother.
Nixon. Hey,
Yeah, Nixon.
smart
Yes.
man. Thanks for that. Yeah, President Nixon was in office at the time when China opened up.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that. I teach Chinese, but yeah, man. I forgot what I was saying, bro. Kind of lost my train of thought. But
Anyway, it is what it is, man. We just talking about the when you first come over, like we hadn't been exposed to many different nationalities of people. And where we come from, we have basically white Americans, black Americans, and a few Mexicans. Because I come from a place where there's have some farmland too, a lot of Mexicans around. But there was no Asian people, no Chinese people, no Korean
that's
people,
what I'm saying.
like that.
There was like some kind of mutual attractiveness. Like I like the Chinese people, and the Chinese people like me. I guess for the most part, it's just okay. We can actually kind of delve in this. We have a little bit of time. It's like how I met the very good Chinese friends is a very weird story, or maybe a simple story to some, but like it was it was during that time when the lady Chris gave me 2 of my paychecks. So what did Alex go do? I went to Gongyuan. I went to Gongyuan. I went to Coca Park, and I just like met some like Chinese friends that kind of always go to the same bars, but we were still kind of like getting to know each other or whatever like that. So you know what I do? I went and bought a bottle of Moet. You know what I mean? And I started drinking and drank it all. Then kind of drank it and shared it with like the bartender or whatever. And this guy came in. Shout out to Anson. He was a really good friend of mine, Anson Chang, right? He comes in, and there was this girl that I also liked that worked at the bar. Her name was Hebe. As a Chinese girl that worked over there. And he came in, and he was like, "Hey, man, you know what? Do you want a drink?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. I don't want to drink." And sorry. He's like, "Do you want me to buy you a drink?" And I was like, "Nah, I don't need to buy you a drink. I buy my own drink." So I bought myself a drink, and then I bought him a drink as well. And he was like, "Wow, man, you're like the first foreigner who don't try to like freeload, you know what I mean, and get like free drinks." Because I'm sure you've seen there's so many of these foreigners, bro. They have this it's hierarchy, or think they're like superior, so they drift around bars and clubs.
Yeah, there is
Yeah,
what's going
what's up?
Yeah, sorry. No, sorry. I was having some technical difficulty. It's fine now.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
you know the people I'm talking about, right? So he was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
wow, this is the first time it happened. And like, I don't know, just like the friendship kind of just brewed from a simple freaking drink. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, just because I didn't want him to buy me a drink, and then instead I bought myself a drink, and I bought him a drink as well when he didn't ask for it. You know what I mean? So, it's just, it's like sounds like such a stupid thing, man. But like after that, like him and the girl or whatever, because he was a gay dude. He was a gay guy or whatever. But I was attracted to his friend, the girl that worked over there. So I hung around him all the time, not just because I wanted the girl, but there was actually like genuinely like really super cool people. And when I got kicked out not kicked out, but when the job let me go and I blew through all that money, he and the girl actually helped me out as well. Monetary, they helped me out to get like a room. You know what I mean? So, like I said, like little stupid things that we sometimes experience in life, or that we do, like, I don't know, like a stupid act of kindness, like buying a drink. It can stem some very interesting relationship and bonds. And like I said, with Chinese people, man, it's like they're very friendly in comparison to where I lived around the world. I think the friendliest people I ever met was like the Chinese and Filipino.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I've had really good experiences with Filipino people too, as far as hospitality goes, and the way they treat you, like, and not really expecting anything in return other than just kindness back. You know what I mean? Like, I've had good experiences.
I never been to the Philippines, but a lot of my friends, they're married to Filipinos, and Filipinos are married to foreigners, and I met a lot of them, and I was like, yo, this is some friendly people. Then I came to China, and everybody always says like hello, like they're not afraid. But when I lived in Korea and other places, it's very kind of like they stay to themselves. So I kind of like that aspect of China as well. Like, people are not afraid to try to make friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like back in the day it was definitely like that, but nowadays it does seem, for me, it seems a little bit different. It seems a little different nowadays. But back, pre-COVID, it was much different. And but I don't know, maybe also, I don't know if it's the place I live or what. Like, when I was in Shenzhen back in the day at the time, it was like that. Everybody was, everywhere I went, just random people would just be like, hey, how you doing? Whatever, blah, blah. But nowadays, it doesn't really happen very often. Sometimes, like, I'll be walking and might make eye contact with people, and I'll, get head nod or like just a, but it's like nothing like, nothing exceptional, which I'm not saying it should be. It just seems a little different than it used to be. But
you made me think of something, bro. And you know what that is? during the whole COVID thing, you know what I mean? The Western media blamed Chinese, and the Chinese media blamed the Western media blamed the Chinese, and the Chinese media blamed the foreigners or whatever. So, and like I said, I'm just being translucent over here. I started getting this rhetoric like, yo, it's all Chinese, like it's all the Chinese people's fault, blah, 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 this and that. And the Chinese people, they watch their media outlet and they say, oh, it's all the foreigners' fault. And then now I just realized, bro, like we're listening to both sides of our propaganda that sounds good to us. And these are the things that make us butt heads. And before all that, everybody, bro, was chilling and like getting along, bro. So this is the whole divide thing that comes in. It's like this very interesting that it just made me think of this. You know what I mean?
The funny thing is about this is we were going through the exact same experience at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just Chinese people, but most Asian people in America were like really experiencing a lot of racism from Americans. So Americans were telling all these Asian people, "Oh, go back to your home country," blah blah, and treating them like shit. And then here in China, I was getting the same experience from Chinese people telling me the same thing. So it's like, we were both experiencing the exact same stuff at the exact same time.
Yeah,
and it's like,
that's an interesting perspective, bro. Because nobody, like, out of all the outlets that I listen to, nobody ever made this point that everybody was going through in different parts of the world. We were all experiencing the same thing, and then we ended up hating each other in the process. It's kind of like it's they won't. I don't know who they is. I'm kind of putting this in quotations out there, but it's like it's propagated for people to butt heads and start despising and hating each other because that's what they're being fed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I don't want to dive too deep into this, but you get what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, open up a can of worms. But
yeah,
I definitely see it. And it for me, just I don't know. I shouldn't even. I don't want to hate talking about this kind of stuff, but it seemed like after the whole COVID thing settled, it's like I don't know who. I don't. It's like a conspiracy theorist. I don't know who's in charge or who's running this thing, but it seemed like they learned that like, okay, we can use this type of information to make everybody not like each other. You know what I mean? Things really start to decline really fast all over the world. You have like whatever people in certain countries, all over the place, in Europe and in Africa and all these different places in Asia, they're all like back and forth. All this crazy stuff just seemed to be going on now because it seemed like they realized like how they can manipulate people and how it works, how it really puts people against each other, even though we were all experiencing the same thing.
We've talked about something like this before. No matter where you are in the world, like, there's people that are less fortunate. There are people that are more fortunate, but like everybody has, I would say, a fair, how can I say this? Some people might not agree, but like, bro, I'm not going to do a complete dive of, what I've been through in my life, man. But I definitely shared some I definitely went through some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? And it all boils down to the choices that you make. Each choice have consequences. Like I said, I'm not preaching. This is just common sense. You know what I mean? Everything has an outcome, whether it's positive or negative. You know what I mean? And you and I talked about this off cam as well. At the end of the day, in the beginning of the day, usually, no matter where you are in the world, we're all are doing the same thing. We get up, we grind, we try to make money to take care of, your family or even yourself. If you don't have nobody, at the end of the day, we're all doing the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even these rich Hollywood celebrities, they're doing the same thing. They're grinding, working all around the clock, making movies and all this and that. They just have a different job than we got, but they still doing the same thing we're doing. The whole world doing the same thing. Everybody's trying to earn money, take care of their family, take care of their business, and live the life that they want to live. We all doing that. Yeah, exactly. Kind of interesting. Actually, that brings me back to the point before we cut this off about living abroad. We're talking about the decisions we make. You and me both have made bad decisions in life, and we've made good decisions in life. But those decisions have brought us to where we are today. And I just want to say that because a lot of people, nowadays they say, oh, you're so lucky, you're living in China and doing this or doing that. And we're stuck here in the same town we grew up in. And, that's the decision I made. I was stuck there too. You were stuck there too. And we, made a decision and took a leap of faith or took a risk. And, it's not luck. It's
some people want to attribute our successes to privilege.
Yeah. I've had people in my own family. I think my sister's mentioned this a few times. I don't know if she watched this or not. She might not. She might. I don't know if she gives a shit. But she, I think it was her who's like, "Oh, you're so lucky. You just get to like whatever, play with kids all day and get paid and live in another country. Like I'm on vacation all the time or something." But I'm over here working. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm over here putting in sometimes 50, 60 hours a week. I ain't doing, working and doing business, all these things. Like I'm working my ass off. And it's not luck. I just made the decision to leave. And she could have did the same thing, or anybody else could do the same thing. They don't have to be stuck where you at. But I think some people get tied down to things, like you get a job or you buy a house or stuff like that, and you kind of get stuck somewhere because you have collect all these possessions. You know, you get a house and car and all this other crap, and you can't take
Yeah.
that stuff with you. So they get stuck in that place.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
we got out.
Yo, what's up? Chuprov. Chuprov.
Chuprov.
Привет. Как
Oh,
дела?
free. Oh, your Russian is good.
Mm,
Privyet. He's
yeah.
always this dude. He's always talking about girls, man. He's addicted.
Yeah, I think so. I've seen some of the comments. Seen some of the comments. I don't know if you stuck around. We did talk about briefly about some girls, but
I
I
like
think
girls
that
too.
be I think that would be a more of a topic we can kind of discuss like on the next thing, man. Like maybe I don't know, dating and just the overall
Actually,
experience like that, you
yes,
know?
we're almost out of time now, but yeah, I would like to talk about that on next episode because I do have some opinions about the changes in the
Yeah.
dating scene, not just in China but in general. So yeah, let's save that for the next episode. We'll talk about that, and also we'll give a chance for the to anybody who watches this later. They can leave some comments below about what they're interested in talking about on that topic.
Yeah. I don't know how much time we got exactly left, but maybe we can squeeze in like a one or two questions maybe or something if I don't know
Okay,
how we
I'm
doing
I'm
on
cool.
time.
I don't even know if anybody's even watching this. To be honest with
Uh,
you.
it says like I opened it up on my phone. It says it's just like 4 or 5 viewers or something like
Oh,
that.
okay. Well, if any of y'all got any questions, let us know real quick before we cut this off, and we'll try to get your
Yeah.
question in real quick.
As you can see, we're using the free version of
Yeah.
StreamYard right now. I'm gonna have to upgrade so we don't burn this 2 hours of free time that we got. But this is kind of like, would you say, kind of in an experimental stage still? This pod thing.
Yeah, just just experiment with it and see, if people are interested in it or not. Because I mean, I myself, I enjoy talking to you, especially about living abroad, because we have, similar experiences in life as far as being expats and in our backgrounds and stuff. So I enjoy just hanging out with you and talking to you, even if they don't enjoy it.
Yeah,
I enjoy
likewise,
it.
bro. And like I said, I think like I guess this next topic about dating and ooh, bro, that was that was some, like I said, man, dating in China and just overall meeting some women. I'm not gonna be the first one to say that Chinese women are easy. I don't think that's actually true. You know what I
Nah,
mean? It's
I,
just
I think there's a misconception about that.
yeah,
But let's dive into it on the next one, because if we open it up now, it's gonna open up a can of worms.
yeah, true,
So
true, true.
let's save that for the
Yeah.
next video. We'll talk about the dating scene in China and where it started and what it evolved into, stuff like that. Let's get into that.
You want to
next time.
close us out?
Yeah, let's get out of here. For those of y'all who watched this, appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button, and you can check out the links below. If you want to get some deals on some flights or take care of your tax, stuff like that, they'll give you some discounts down there. And I'm going to say, watch this next video, because YouTube says that's the one you should watch next. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.